What is going on, guys? Welcome back here to another installment of Honest and Uneducated, the show where we talk about anything from movies, movie news, video games, comic books, collectibles, just all sorts of fun stuff like that. We got some good news stories here today. We got, for one, a very crazy Friday. We talked about it on stream this past Friday. I mean, we had the series finale, I guess season 1 finale, we'll say. Maybe there might be a season 2, we don't know yet, but Falcon Winter Soldier finale. We'll have a spoiler discussion of that later. I was about to say something that could have been kind of spoilery, so I'll refrain from that until later on in the show. But then Mortal Kombat, so I'm gonna give a quick review of that. Maybe some maybe spoilery of that. We'll have that too. But then Invincible came out on Friday as well. It was an action-packed Friday. I mean, we've talked about it over the past, I don't know, couple of months really. We've kind of had an embarrassment of riches of content coming out, like over the last couple months in particular. We had like WandaVision, and then what else? We had Mandalorian, then WandaVision, then we had all these things come out on HBO Max, just like back to back to back to back. It was crazy. We got a bunch of stuff like that to talk about. Joining me to help break some of this stuff down, though, is none other than Rick Metz himself. How you doing today, Rick?
What's going on? I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. Not too bad.
Yep.
We normally John Knight will be joining us here a little bit later. He's a little bit held up right now, so we're gonna kick things off without him for now, without these first couple segments. But the first one I'm gonna do is Mortal Kombat, and he hasn't seen Mortal Kombat anyway, so he won't be
Right.
missing too much here. But we're gonna get right into that. But first, do not forget that you can submit topics and questions to the show by emailing us at honestanduneducated@gmail.com. That's honestanduneducated@gmail.com. If anything comes up in the news cycle that you think we should cover, just send it our way there, and we will address it as long as it's appropriate for the show, obviously. Other than that, every Wednesday, we have our collectible reviews go up. So the most recent one I did was the Obi-Wan Kenobi Revenge of the Sith hot toy, as you see there. That is up on the channel now. So then in 2 days, this upcoming Wednesday, another one will be out. I haven't decided which one it's going to be, but it'll be there. And then lastly, if you can't always catch the show here on YouTube, the audio only version of the show does go up on all the podcast platforms. So Spotify, iTunes, whatever you use, search Honest and Uneducated and it will be there. So with that down though, let's get into the first thing here. And like I said off the top, we're going to do a quick Mortal Kombat sort of review. I will warn, I'll probably, here's the thing. I'm going to warn for spoilers, but I'm not really gonna get into, like, what happens, really. But in the end, I kinda told John and Rick this before because they hadn't seen it. Like, it's not a very spoiler discussion type of movie because it's just more it's Mortal Kombat. It's just it's what you expect from Mortal Kombat. So, I don't really know what you everyone's definition of spoiler, Rick, is, like, so different too. So, like,
Yeah.
I could say, Sub-Zero and frickin' Scorpion fight, and they'll consider that a spoiler.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like,
I mean, you
it's
see
like,
it in the trailer.
yeah, you see that in the trailer anyway. So it's like it's blatantly not a spoiler. But that's why I'm gonna warn for spoilers, even though I don't know how much of it's like I'm not gonna reveal like the entire plot or anything like that. It's just gonna be a quick review. Rick hasn't seen it, so I'm not gonna I'm sure he doesn't really care too much about
No.
spoilers though anyway,
No.
so but like I said, in my opinion, there's really not too much to spoil unless I gave away, like, plot by plot what was gonna happen, which I'm really not gonna do. Because I mean, if anything, I guess I'll start there. The plot is probably kind of the weakest part of the movie. Um,
Really.
yeah, just because and with like, again, without getting too much into it, I guess I did warn for spoilers, so this is why I did that. But the plot and my biggest gripe with it is that there is no Mortal Kombat. There's Mortal Kombat in the sense that they fight and kill each other and whatever, but there's no tournament. And that's my biggest complaint. Like,
Yeah.
I want the Mortal Kombat tournament. Like that's
Not just like random fighting.
yeah, and like and I guess too the odd thing about it is they do mention, like, in the movie specifically, in the lore, in the rules they explain in their own movie, they do mention that it's, like, illegal for, like, the Outworld or whatever or any realm to interfere with the rules of like Mortal Kombat outside of the Mortal Kombat tournament. So like Shang Tsung can't send Sub-Zero over to Earthrealm to start killing people. That's against the rules. But that's exactly what happens. Like that's literally what happens. So like they say like you're not allowed to do that, but then they do that and there's no consequences for it.
Yeah, it just happens.
It like that's literally just what happens, which is I don't really care about that, but it's just kind of stupid. And the only reason I don't like it is because again, there were no consequences to it, really. Like if it would have all like led to like there was going to be a tournament, but because the people from Outworld, Outworld, Otherworld, what the hell is it called? Not Outland, because that's World of Warcraft.
Outer World?
And then Netherrealm is where Scorpion's from. Like it's like hell. Is it Outworld?
I have no idea.
I can't remember. I just watched. I watched a movie. I played every goddamn one of these games. I can't remember what the name is. But either way, I'm gonna say Outworld. Let's go with that for now. Correct me in the comments, like I'm sure you will if I'm wrong. But either way, if there were some consequences to the actions of like them doing that, it would have made more sense. But elsewise, the movie itself was just like that. Like
a lot of action.
Like Sub-Zero was sent over by Shang Tsung to kill everybody, kill all of Earthrealm's heroes, so they can't compete in the tournament and forfeit. Because if you lose 10, they set up in the movie at least if one of the realms lose 10 straight tournaments, then the Outworld people or Outland or Otherworld, whatever the hell you want to call them, this is going to bother me. It's going to come to me at the end of the show. But if they were to lose this, if Earthrealm was to lose this 10th tournament, then that other world is able to invade and pretty much take over Earthrealm. So
well, that sounds fun.
Yeah, so the whole that's all the kind of the whole point, and this is a thing that also is like kind of doesn't make any sense, right? So Earthrealm has lost 9 straight, right?
Right.
Why the hell does Shang Tsung and them think that all of a sudden they're gonna win this next one?
Right.
Like just beat them like you have the past 9 years, dude. Like,
yeah.
all you have to do is beat them, and you're good.
Right.
Because honestly, the fact that Shang Tsung sent Sub-Zero over to start picking people off beforehand is what made them all come together quicker and learn how to like summon their arcana, get their powers, and then beat y'all's asses. Had they just waited for the tournament to happen, they would have won. It would have just they would have just won again. Like no one would they wouldn't have got together. There wouldn't have been a sense of urgency for Cole and like Kano and Sonya and all these people to get their arcana and get it all done. Like it wouldn't have happened. So like literally Shang Tsung and his goons, their whole plan to sabotage Earthrealm completely backfired on them, theoretically speaking. It's like the odds were in their favor because, like I said, they won 9 out of the last 10 anyway. So it's kind of stupid.
That is,
like,
yeah.
But otherwise, though, the good parts about the movie were like the fights were good. Like
sure, yeah, the action was probably insane.
Yeah, the fights were good. Like the Sub-Zero and Scorpion stuff was probably the best. I will say off the top though, Scorpion is not in this movie, like really at all. In all honesty, like he opens the movie and then he closes the movie.
That's weird.
He's not just in it. It's not
He's
about
like a
him.
Major character.
Yeah, and that's probably my biggest. Other than like the plot points, the worst part of the movie is the characters, in the sense that like
that's promising.
Well, they're like the characters are good. Like some of them are good. Like I told you on stream, like surprisingly, Kano and the actor who played Kano, dude killed that. Like he made Kano was the most interesting and cool character in the damn movie,
which you wouldn't expect.
No, you definitely wouldn't. But it was all about the dude's charisma, how he played him, just the things he said. Like he was a dick. He was like just a slimy little sleazeball dude, and he was awesome at it. Like he was great.
Good at
like,
being an asshole.
Yeah, he was a perfect Kano. Like he did a really good job. But then like they focus the story around this Cole dude. Like he's like your main character.
Yeah, who the hell is Cole?
But he's so flat. He's so boring. Like they don't really like I said, Kano's awesome, and he's not the main character. But like without Kano, I really don't know how enjoyable the movie would have been. Like, it still would have been cool for the Mortal Kombat stuff, like all the
Yeah.
fight scenes and the gore and stuff. Like, that's all there. Like, if you just want to watch it for fatalities and stuff, like that is there, and that's all good. Like, that's good.
Right.
It's just they focus on the Cole guy who's kind of boring, kind of one note, stereotypical. Like, he's just a it's the stereotypical thing where he's like the chosen one dude. Like,
Yeah.
he's the
Yeah.
chosen one, but he can't get his powers. And then in the moment of crisis, he gets his powers and then he wins. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
Like, it's nothing crazy. You know what I mean? It's not like groundbreaking.
Sounds so basic, just like
It
plot
was
wise.
like that part was, and like, and they just didn't give him really anything to really do.
Yeah.
Like, and it's, I don't know. It's just kind of
Other
like,
than be there.
yeah, he had no life to him, as opposed to, like I say, like Kano was very like enjoyable to watch. Whereas, like, I didn't mind the Cole character and the guy who playing him. Like, I thought he was fine. He was just boring. They didn't really give him anything to do.
Yeah.
Like, and like the fight scenes were good. All the stuff he did in it was good. It's just like
They didn't write a good story for him.
yeah, they didn't. They just didn't spend enough time with him. Even though the movie centers around him, they didn't spend enough time like for you to get to really know him. He's just kind of there, and you're following him, but he's not very interesting. I
Yeah.
don't know if that makes sense. Like,
No, I get it.
it's not bad by any means. Like, I definitely would recommend watching the movie, especially if you're a Mortal Kombat fan. And after seeing the movie, I'm excited to actually see, like, I want them to do more. Like, when just recently, I can't remember his name, but the guy who was in the Raid and he played Sub-Zero in this, like, supposedly he is signed on to do 4 movies,
Damn.
like 4 more movies, if I'm remembering correctly. So if not, it was 4 total or 5 total. One of the 2, either way. So, like, he signed on to do 4 or 5 movies. So, presumably speaking, with the way this one ends, the next one should actually have the true Mortal Kombat tournament. So I wanna see that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, I like
It's Mortal Kombat. I mean,
yeah, and that's the thing too. Like, the other characters were good. Like, what they like your Scorpions, your Sub-Zeros, your true Mortal Kombat characters, they were all done well. Like, granted, Liu Kang and Kung Lao were kind of also pretty boring. Like, they were just kind of like there.
yeah. I've
It
always thought
wasn't
they were kind of boring, anyways.
yeah, I mean, it wasn't their movie. Like, and that's kind of the problem is that it's like if they didn't focus on they focused on this Cole dude, but not the
Who the hell's Cole?
yeah, not the Mortal Kombat characters, which I thought was odd.
Yeah.
Like, because like the girl who played Sonya was really good. The dude who played Jax was really good. So like Sonya and Jax, they were fine. I don't know. Maybe they should just focus more on them and not had the Cole dude in there at all. And like the next one's like Johnny Cage is in this one, and like it's not really even a spoiler. Like the director said that before, and they said that there is kind of like a tease about Johnny Cage
Yeah, I
at the
wanted to hear
very
about
end of the
that.
movie. But he said that like Johnny Cage was like too big of a personality to put in the middle of this, and I can see what he was meaning based after now seeing the movie.
Johnny Cage is like a main character. Like,
Yeah, and like that's kind of like I feel like maybe they should have honestly done that though. I don't know. Like I feel like it
could
because
have
John.
been a different direction.
If you're familiar with the lore, maybe they didn't want to do it too because they thought it'd be like retreading too much ground because that's what the original Mortal Kombat was. Even though Liu Kang was like the main character of that movie,
Yeah.
on like the human side of things, it was Jax, Sonya, and Johnny Cage.
Mhm.
Like that was the core group, and then
Yeah,
Liu
yeah.
Kang met up with them essentially, and then the movie progressed. But maybe that's another reason they didn't want to have Johnny in. I'm thinking maybe they wanted to actually get like a big like I'm still sitting on this Ryan Reynolds playing.
That would be
Cage.
cool.
He would.
He's kind of a big
destroy
name
it.
for
No, that's what they would need for it, man. I'm
to
telling
like
you.
really make it take off.
Yeah, and he would be he'd be perfect for the role. I normally don't like doing fan casting stuff like this, but I'm just look me in the eye and tell me if you're familiar with the Johnny Cage character that Ryan Reynolds is not the perfect choice.
He would be very good.
He's the perfect fucking choice for it, dude. He'd be amazing, and he can do combat stuff, like all the action stuff. He can do it. He fights good. It would be really good. But I would love to have seen like hockey ass Johnny Cage in a freaking pissing match against this Kano guy. Because
Yeah.
like I'm telling you, the dude who played Kano was just spitting gold all the time.
Yeah,
Like,
just
everything he said was awesome. And I would love to have seen Johnny, because Johnny Cage is a very similar personality as the Kano, just
yeah,
big, loud, boisterous, kinda douchey dude,
yeah,
in
yeah,
just a very different way. Like, one's a complete asshole, the other one's just kind of
like a cocky,
self-indulgent, yeah.
yeah,
And, so I would have actually loved to have seen those 2, like, on screen together, would've been really cool. But then again, like, going back a little bit, it probably would have been better for them to have Johnny Cage be the main character, because if you're familiar with, like, at least the recent Mortal Kombat stuff, like, Johnny Cage is, like, the dude. He won, like, the what was it, like, Mortal Kombat 10 or something? Like, he won the thing? Like, he
yeah,
won the freaking tournament. He was like a god. Like, as far as his arcana or magic, his key shit went, like, he was like he w became a god or some shit. And then in
right.
this most recent one, like, Liu Kang, like, fused with fucking Raiden and became some, like, dragon lightning lord. Like, it was weird. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It would've been cool to see Johnny Cage in there because of the way they did this Kano character more so than anything, and then if they had the right guy in there. You throw Ryan Reynolds in there, Johnny Cage, I'm there for it. But elsewise, though, like I said, everything was good. The story could have been a little bit better, could have been a little bit more ironed out. I'm kind of bummed there wasn't actually Mortal Kombat, like, tournament-wise. That's other than, like, that and then the characters in general being, like, kind of flat, like, the main ones that you follow, kind of flat, but it's mainly just because the plot was kind of thin, I guess. But, like, Goro actually looked really good, I thought.
Yeah, I'm
Like,
sure they could do much better with Goro nowadays
yeah, like, he
versus
wasn't
like
he wasn't as good as Thanos, but there were some scenes where, like, I they did, like, they he looked really good. There were
yeah,
other scenes where you're like, "Yeah, I can tell he's CG," but then other, like, scene you can see, like, the freaking pores on his skin and, like, the
sure,
ripples on his like, they did a really good job with it. On such a low budget, I think they did a fantastic job with how Goro looked, personally. They used him kinda stupidly, though, I will say. They just, like, send him there to again, I don't wanna, like, spoil everything, but at like, did you say you wanted to hear the Johnny Cage thing?
yeah,
Okay, so at the very I'm talking the very last scene, this is pretty much what could or even should have been a post-credit kind of scene, is, like, they all, Earthrealm obviously defeats the forces that Shang Tsung sent over to ambush them and, like, kill them all prior to the 10th tournament and everything. So at the very end, like, Raiden or I think it was Raiden says, like, like, "Our work's not done yet, we have to, find more fighters," right? And,
yeah.
like, get the rest of them. And, so it
Assemble
ends like
squad.
that, and then it has Cole back at his gym where because he was, like, a fighter himself, like, in, like, the real world stuff.
Yeah,
And so he's, like, there cleaning out his locker and leaving, and, like, the guy who runs the gym was just like, where are you off to?" Like, whatever, and he's like, "Hollywood." And he's like, why you going there?" He's like and he says, like, "Not why, who?" And then
uh,
it pans to a poster of a Johnny Cage movie poster, and you just see, like,
so
the John
Johnny Cage is coming.
yeah, you just see, like, he's wearing a big ass cage belt buckle, and it's like a title, and it says Johnny Cage, like, on the post. It doesn't show his face or anything, but it's like so Cole is going to Hollywood to recruit Johnny Cage is how the movie ends.
Yeah,
That's the final scene of the movie,
that's
so,
pretty cool, I guess.
yeah, so the next one, like I said, I'm really excited for the next one because seems like the tournament will actually take place. Based on what happens with Sub-Zero at the end, we should be getting some Noob Saibot, which
Yeah,
I want some of that.
that would be great. That would be
So,
great.
and then because of what happens with all the current Shang Tsung baddies that were there, and because like some certain people died, I'm pretty sure Shao Kahn's gonna be pissed off. He wasn't in the movie, but because some people died in this one, he should be pretty pissed off. So
Yeah, he's
he'll
not too
probably,
happy.
yeah, he'll be a part of the next one, I'm sure. And that'd be same for Earthrealm. Some people died, like, well, actually, one person from Earthrealm died. So I don't really that there's only one
It's not too
person who's
bad.
mad about it, so,
Right.
yeah. And then, but everything was cool, though. The way they explained the, like, arcana and people having powers and, like, why they have them, et cetera, all that was good. But, I'm excited to see because, like I said, everybody besides one person from Earthrealm died. We know Johnny Cage is coming, but curious of who else they're gonna throw in there because, like, they had some major players on the other side who died, like Cabal, Melina, um, Goro, um, Who else was that? There was I don't remember the character's name, but there was like a vampire bat looking lady there. She died.
Yeah.
Um,
A lot,
fuck
lot of
else?
deaths.
Yeah, so I'm curious of what that reptile died, but
Did they say fatality?
Mm, I think someone did at
Fatality.
some point, and then someone said flawless victory at some point, and then when Kano ripped Reptile's heart out, he said like Kano wins. That was in the trailer.
Yeah.
But the thing is too, with Reptile, that may not have been Reptile because they said send in the reptilian, so it may have just been like one of the reptilian race of people.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
weren't like blatantly clear on
Specifically
that.
saying this is the character
Yeah,
reptile.
so the real quote unquote reptile may still be to come, or that may have been a reptile. Who knows? Kind of open ended. But that being said, I'm curious of who we're going to see in the next one because there's still some big names that weren't in this one, like Smoke,
That would have been cool.
Rain. Um, who else? Who else wasn't there? I mean, there's a lot of people.
Like
Like
Cyrax.
Shao Kahn. Yeah, none of the robots were in there. Cyrax or the other one. Yeah, I can't remember his name. But yeah, I'm curious to see where it's gonna go because we got, like I said, Johnny Cage is coming. My guess is Shao Kahn is coming, and then based on the Sub-Zero stuff, I'm pretty sure Noob Saibot's coming. They did show Shang Tsung take someone's soul, so I'm guessing maybe no, that was the one person that died on our side. So I'm hoping Ermac comes next time.
Ermac would be cool.
I love Ermac.
Noob's my favorite, but
yeah, well, Noob is just dead Sub-Zero, so
yeah.
and that's why I'm saying like obviously Sub-Zero died. And the thing is with Cole too, since we're doing spoiler stuff here, and obviously they all in these games, even all these people come back all the time. Like
Right.
some do come back as other characters, like Sub-Zero comes back as Noob Saibot, but I mean Sub-Zero is still in the freaking latest game. Like they just keep redoing stuff. But the dude who played Sub-Zero, like I said, he signed on to do 4 or 5 movies, but he
Right.
dies at the end of this one. So it's like they're either just gonna come back as Sub-Zero again, or he's gonna come back as Noob Saibot.
It'll be interesting to see how they do that.
Yeah, one of the 2, and so it's, like, kinda the same with who knows, like, with, like, Kung Lao who died on the Earth side. I think he was the only one who died. He might even come back somehow, like, at this point, like, who knows? Oh, yeah, and, like, Cabal is one of the main guys there too. He died, like,
Yeah.
from the bad guys. Like, Kano died. Everybody died. Like,
A lot of death.
yeah, so I'm just like, who the hell's gonna be in the next one on the bad guy side? Because a lot of them died.
Everybody's dead.
Like, I mean, there's still plenty of other characters, but those were some of your main ones, like Cabal, Kano, and I mean Shang Tsung's still there, but Goro's gone. Like, I don't know. So curious to see. Is there anything else that you have like question about before we move on?
Not really.
'Cause that was
I think you covered it all. I mean, there's only so much you can really say about it, you know.
yeah, and I didn't really like I said, I did give like obviously some things are spoilers, but with this kind of movie, like I said, Sub-Zero died at the end, but the guy signed on to do 4 or 5 movies. Like, and that's the same with all these characters. They always come back in some way. Like,
Yeah.
this is worse than a comic book movie. Like,
Right.
they literally die in very graphic ways, but then they're just back for the next one.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it just is what it is.
That's
So
like how Mortal Kombat is, I feel like.
that's what I'm saying. So it was like, I don't really feel like it's gonna be too spoilery. Like it's kind of like yeah, the people died, but they're just gonna come back. There's not really any stakes to it. And
Yeah.
like I said, Sub-Zero is either gonna come back as Sub-Zero or he's gonna be Noob Saibot. So one way or another, a dude's in there for 5 movies. So I don't know. But in the end, I would say that it is a good movie. I liked it. The story was kind of flat, like I said. I didn't like that there wasn't an actual tournament. Like that was kind of nah. And then if they could have just gave the characters a little bit more life, like they did with some, like I said, Sonya and Jax were cool. If they would have like had more of them instead of how much they had of Cole, or made Cole a little bit more interesting instead of so like run of the mill stereotypical, just you know, your classic character needs to get his powers, and then when he does, he wins the fight. Like it's kind of like giving him the connection to Scorpion wasn't really enough to make him interesting. Like it's like cool, but yeah, they could have done more with it. So, question is though, have you seen Mortal Kombat? What did you think about it? And please correct me in the comments about Outworld, Otherworld. I'm pretty sure it's Outworld. Now that I'm thinking about it, Outworld sounds right. but I could definitely be wrong because I still am kind of blanking on what the name is. But if you've seen Mortal Kombat, let me know what you think down in the comment section below. All right, guys. So our next topic here we're going to get into is there's been some news here. There's two bits of news here. One, I told you off the top of the show here that John Knight will be joining us, and John Knight is indeed joining us here now. So before we get into it, how you doing today, John?
I'm doing pretty good. Running a little late today, but yeah, other than that, good.
Hey, it happens, dude. It's
No.
we got busy lives, you know.
It's all right. I missed the one segment that I could miss though, because I haven't seen Mortal Kombat yet. So it kind of, I guess it worked out in that regard.
Yeah, our great what do you call the person who puts the plan together? The like I don't know what you would call it, but they had some great foresight to put that as the first topic there. It
Yeah.
was me. That was me, obviously. But yeah,
Well done.
yeah, so we're gonna get into the second one though, which we talked about this. I think this article in particular, this is about Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. Some of the best, probably the absolute best in my opinion, at least for me, the most enjoyable single player true like RPG games like ever made. They were awesome. And I was always very disappointed that they never made a third one. Still waiting on that. Especially after all the I was actually really shocked they didn't make one once EA got the exclusive rights to make Star Wars games, and then Star Wars was popping off because it was back with The Force Awakens and all this shit. But then they didn't make KOTOR, which was like people have been clamoring for a KOTOR 3 for like 10 years now. Like, I don't understand why they never made it. But back in, I think it was when this article actually references when we talked about this, like, and it was back in like January, there were some rumbles that Aspire was going to be making a KOTOR like remake of some sort or making an updated version, whatever it may be. But there's been essentially a confirmation now that Aspire is indeed making one, but there's two things about it that like I find kind of interesting here. One we'll get into first, I guess, at least I'll just say first, was it says back in January, another report, which is like the one that we covered, I believe, suggested the project would contain elements from both KOTOR games, and then to quote bring certain things into the current Star Wars canon, which I find that to be kind of interesting because there's a lot potentially to that. So, but that would also, I don't know. We'll get into that here. We'll speculate. But then, so then the next quote is like this. This is public at this point. I've basically confirmed Aspire, which is a company that's ported a bunch of KOTOR games, is working on the remake. So, I guess the biggest question is like how much of a remake is this going to be? Are they going to just update the graphics, keep the the turn-based kind of action combat that they had, or are they going to update the combat? I was telling John when this news first came out, because him and I are we play more games than old Rick over there, so
True.
But I brought this up to him, and I was thinking that the combat style that would kind of suit this game like perfectly, in my opinion, would be like the Soulsborne kind of combat, like your Demon Souls, your Dark Souls, your Bloodborne. I would love. It doesn't necessarily need to be as challenging or hard as those games. They're not hard games, really, but a lot of people find them very, very difficult. They're just great games, but and they're not really hard. Demon Souls is super easy, but either way, nevertheless, I think that combat would suit the game very well, just given, I mean, the weapons, right? I mean,
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
I mean, like, I mean, look at Fallen Order. Jedi Fallen Order was the same way. It had very Soulsborne style combat, and then if
That
you
game
crank,
was really great.
yeah. So, like, I think if I had to guess, that's what they would do. That's what I would do. I would do that. I'd even go and work with some people at Respawn who made the game I just spoke of,
Fallen Order.
Order. Yeah. Just because I don't know, Aspire has pretty much. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but for the most part, they're pretty much known for porting games in general. I can't remember any off the top of my head that they like developed from scratch
Yeah.
that were like big games. So
Yeah, they just
yeah, so I don't see why they wouldn't. They were going to update the combat. I mean, Respawn and has already worked with. I don't know. I would do that. That's personally what I would do. But then with a canon thing, that could be a lot of things. Because if they're gonna like if they're specifically trying to bring things in from like the game series into current Star Wars canon, that could mean they're doing more than just like remaking the even I mean it would be like an overhaul of the game because they would if they're combining the two games. I mean, they're making it one game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They'd be kind of changing the game at that point, which would be good and bad potentially, but I could see it having a lot of fallout, with fans potentially. So
Yeah, people that have dedicated fans. Yeah, I get that.
yeah, like people who want to just play a remake of KOTOR and play a remake of KOTOR 2, but then they get this thing that's neither of them, and
It'd be a lot better though.
it could be better. That's the thing, though, is it could be better or it could suck. Like just in general, like the game could come out and it could just suck at that point.
Yeah.
Like it had like even though the story is cool and like oh cool now Revan and all this stuff is canon, great. But the game sucks. Like you know what I mean? You
Yeah,
still
what good-
have that.
what
So
good
it's
does
kind
that
of
do?
it's a give and take. Like you could get a bunch of cool Star Wars lore that's now quote unquote canon, which honestly, like who gives a shit? I'd rather just have it be a good game. Like I've been living for 10 years without Revan being canon. He's canon because he was mentioned briefly in a Star Wars dictionary, which
Right.
doesn't mean anything because freaking Pablo Hidalgo and everybody has already said that anything outside of the movies is canon as long as it doesn't contradict the movies. That means nothing's canon unless it is the movies
Right.
in the
right.
end.
Yeah.
It's so
So
stupid.
yeah, so it's like
And unfortunately, the movies are some of the worst part of current Star Wars canon.
exactly,
Correct.
exactly. Because like think about it, if something in Mandalorian, which is great, contradicts the movie's
It's not
canon.
canon. Yeah.
Exactly. So like I don't like that that's how they're doing their canon now.
It's a
Makes
dumb
sense to
way,
some
yeah.
degree, but just don't say stuff's canon that's not the movies then. And that's why I can't really accept the fact that oh, but it's going to be canon. No, not necessarily. if the movies need to change it or it goes against something in the movies, it's not canon. So I don't
Yeah.
know. What would you want to see? And let's go to Rick here, since you're the least gamey person here, and that's not a reference to like food, like
No.
gamey food. But what would you need or want to see in this remake to make you want to actually play the game?
Lots of customizable stuff, from like lightsabers to outfits to Sith to Jedi, kind of like how it went before. And just good gameplay, because I'm not really that big of a fan of like turn-based like RPG sort of things. Like I want to be doing something, like I want to be running around slicing things, shooting things, and I think like Force Unleashed was like one of my favorite Star Wars games just because that's like what you did. You go around, you use the Force, you kill stormtroopers, you do whatever. And
Yeah.
for me, that would be cool. And obviously including like a bunch of like characters that people want to see, like Darth Revan and like maybe like Darth Malak and Malgus and so on and so forth.
Yeah, that's the thing. Force Unleashed was like playing a Star Wars game with the cheats on.
It was fun.
Yeah, that's just like how the game was.
It was fun.
No, yeah, I
Yeah.
love Force Unleashed. They were good games. I'm surprised they never made a third one of those. Like in all honesty, John, what about you? What are you looking to see most about this? If this does come out and it's like a remake or overhaul, what is it that you would actually want out of it?
I think the main thing that I want out of it is for them to stay true to the story, because I personally don't mind the turn-based RPG style elements of the first two, but I do understand that that's not everybody's cup of tea, and so I do think something that's a little more action oriented would bring in a broader fan base. But the story is what sucked me in. I mean, while I liked that, while I didn't mind the gameplay at all, it was really the story that sucked me in and really made the game so phenomenal for me, and I think a lot of other people. So I hope that they keep, if they're going to remake it, I hope that they keep those same story elements in there and don't deviate too far from that. When you started talking, I started thinking about what it means for them to, because when we initially heard about this, I was super excited. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. This is going to be great. This is what I've wanted for so long, is another chance to revisit that world. And so I was really excited about it. But when you were pointing out about remake and stuff, it got me thinking. Like, I am worried because of them talking about how they went canon and stuff. That to me sounds like
You
a
froze, by the way.
In a great
okay,
spot.
great
Yeah,
side.
it's a good face, so I didn't want you to get into something real deep while just that face going
Yeah.
on. So go on though.
So yeah, what was I saying? So anyway, like that phrasing of bring elements into canon or something, that worries me because that sounds like a kind of double speak marketing term for we want Revan because we know Revan's popular and we can sell a lot of Revan merchandise.
True.
But we want to backdoor Revan into here with the least amount of, bringing the rest of the stuff along from that because we don't want to be beholden to what came before. We want to be able to, have Revan, but also change the story how we want and introduce elements that we feel are like we want to have it more streamlined to fit in with their new High Republic, um, era that they're pushing hard now and stuff.
I don't
And
want them to like, dude. That's the one thing I don't want them to do is make it like High Republic. Like just
well, that's
merge the two. I don't want that.
Those
well.
are
See, I
definitely
don't think that they'll merge it because I think the High Republic is set after the Old Republic. My concern is that they will use the Old Republic as a way to basically the Old Republic as a prequel to the High Republic and try and bring in elements that they're establishing in their High Republic series. Maybe I'm wrong, but Disney with their whole synergy thing and they want all their properties working together, and all this stuff. I just that worries me now when I really start thinking about what a remake is versus a port or an update or some of the other wording that they could have used.
Remaster.
And also
yeah.
a remaster, yeah, exactly. And also the idea that they wanted to bring like they didn't say they want to bring all the canon. They said it said something like elements of the canon, right?
Yeah, it says
Like
bring certain things into the current Star Wars canon.
yeah,
Just
certain
things.
it's very like either you bring the game and it's all canon or you don't bring anything and you just remake it for the fans of the game. Like I'm not sure what that certain elements that word concerns me a little bit.
Well,
So
to me, you know what that really does sound like? It sounds exactly like what you kind of hinted at is that they're taking it a step further than what I would ever want them to do, but they're like making it a more of a retcon than a remake in general, and they're going to say this is in the High Republic era and like tell the same story ish, but and just like do that. Like they're gonna
yeah,
do the games, merge them into one, maybe only do one of the games, but whatever. But essentially, completely change everything that fundamentally makes the game what it is, because it's no longer Knights of the Old Republic if it's gonna be set in the High Republic. Because elsewise, bringing stuff into current Star Wars canon would actually imply that it would have to be set in the High Republic because there is no current Star Wars canon really for the Old Republic.
Yeah.
None of it's canon, really. I mean, the only thing that is was like Darth Bane was in Clone Wars. That's it.
but timeline wise, I mean, if you can correct me if you remember. I don't know that I remember these exactly, but I thought the Old Republic was set like 1 to 2,000 years prior to Yavin, right?
Yeah, it's like 3,000 years beforehand.
Is
Yeah.
it 3,000? Okay, I knew it
Mhm.
was a few thousand.
Well, I don't
I'm not
remember
sure.
when I might be thinking of actually the MMO as
Okay.
opposed to, or that might even be like Darth Bane. Might be,
Okay.
either way, it's either the Old Republic, the Darth Bane stuff, or KOTOR. One of those three. I think the furthest back they went was 3,000 years. So one of the
Okay.
three.
That's a while back.
Yeah, I forget which it is, but
Okay. Well, I'm pretty sure the High Republic is only set like 200 years before the Battle of Yavin or something like that,
Yeah,
because Yoda
yeah.
actually is involved with the High Republic, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So as long as they base it far enough back, hopefully that will keep them from shoehorning in elements of other things that they're trying to establish. But it's just
KOTOR was 3,956 before the Battle of Yavin.
yeah. So it was well before the High Republic. So that would
Mhm.
make that's going to make it assuming they don't try and like remake it to the point where it's only been like 600 years before. Yeah.
I'm gonna look up and see if SWTOR was any difference. 300 years after the events of KOTOR, so we're still looking at like 3,600 years then at that point. So the MMO takes place about 3,600 years beforehand.
Okay. So
And
we're not.
then when
So
did Darth Bane die? Yeah, so and then he was only 1,000 years before Yavin, essentially when he
Yeah.
died. So like, yeah. So KOTOR's the oldest, then SWTOR, then Bane was long after that.
Okay.
So, but Bane's
I think-
really the only thing considered Old Republic stuff. He's really far removed from it that is
Sure.
even in canon because of his brief ghost appearance in that one episode of Clone Wars, which was originally going to be Bane and Revan, but they didn't do it. I've seen, you can look it up though. There was an interview Filoni did out there where they actually, I don't know if it's actually the same thing or it was just dialogue that he was talking about it, then the video showed the stuff, but I think it was actually like him talking about the scene and then they were showing like the previs stuff with Revan that was going to be in the Clone Wars. It's out there, it exists. It was cool. Like, it would have been cool, but alas wasn't. But yeah, that's my worry though, is that they're gonna like more retcon this stuff and kind of like use elements of the game, use the base story of the games, but then inevitably make a new game to make it fit their current direction. You know what I mean? At the same time, I find that kind of an odd thing for them to do by having like Aspire being the people to do it, because that's like making a new game from the ground up at that point in a lot of ways, as opposed to what the company traditionally is known for. So I don't know, because I feel like if they wanted to just make a new entry in the series to just retcon everything, I don't think they would call it like a KOTOR remake or dub it a KOTOR remake, which they might be, and this might just be these articles about, this stuff being in the works, just kind of a misnomer on their part, because like they're getting this information, obviously second or third hand, saying that this KOTOR remake is happening, but I mean, it could very well just be like an entirely new project that they're not going to market as a KOTOR remake in any way, shape, or form. They're just going to say, this is the new canon for this, and it's like, so it could end up being good. I just hope that if they're gonna like, if they are in fact gonna kind of retcon all this stuff, make a new story kind of around these characters, that it's at least good and it's not like so far removed from what it was. You know what I mean? I don't like, my initial thought of like them just setting this in like the High Republic era. I hate that because it just seems like something like they would do, especially if the High Republic wasn't doing as well as they had hoped it would, which is kind of where they're at right now. So like, well, let's just set this stuff here and bring in all this stuff that we know people like into it, and it'll make it good.
Right.
Not that that's what they're doing or what they're gonna do, but like,
it could.
Yeah, it's like, okay, like, it's like, what are the kids like? Vader, let's get some more Vader. I mean, it sounds like that. And the same with Revan. Okay, well, let's just throw Revan in here. Like, maybe they'll like it then. Maybe they'll read the High Republic if Revan's involved. Like, I just don't want it to be that kind of thing. Which, if it's not good, that's what it's gonna be. Like, that's what everyone's gonna complain about, because that's what it's essentially gonna turn into, whether it was or not. That's my biggest fear with it. So
yeah, I mean, and this is a little bit off topic, but you were talking about how we waited so long for a Knights of the Old Republic 3. It's shocking to me that in a day and age where there's a new sports game, these sports games, like you get a new NBA game every year, you get a new Madden every year, you get a new basketball game, and you also get new games every other. Like Assassin's Creed had a stretch of like 5 or 6 years in a row where there was a new Assassin's Creed
Call of Duty
game every year. Call of Duty every year you get a new game. Like all these franchises that are out there that you get new games every year, if not every other, or every other year, if not every year. And Knights of the Old Republic couldn't get a third game. Like, that's baffling to me. I don't know what the sales like. Back when I was playing those games, I didn't look at things like sales numbers and stuff like I do now. So I'm don't know. I don't know if there's a sales reason it didn't get a third, or if Lucasfilm just didn't have a third story to tell, or what. But
They just
it's
didn't
just
want to make
shocking to
it.
me.
Yeah,
They did.
they were like ready to go on it. I was just reading stuff about this not too long ago, because like a BioWare rep who worked on KOTOR 1 and 2, just did like a recent interview just like a couple months ago, and he was asked about it, and he was like, "Yeah, we wanted to make it. We tried to like get it made, and like they didn't want to like make it, and then they were like working with another company, like, and they just like Lucasfilm didn't know." What they wanted to do essentially. Like they didn't know if like they wanted to just have them make the BioWare 3 or if like BioWare was gonna pull out because they were working on Mass Effect at the time. It was like that's when like this was spinning up. So like they were dedicating all their time into like Mass Effect and getting all that stuff done. Then like Lucasfilm, because like they were doing Mass Effect, they didn't know if they wanted to just get someone else to do the KOTOR thing, but like they still had this KOTOR 3 thing planned and they wanted to make the game, but I don't know, it was just like like timing didn't work out, and then there was just
Sure.
creative stuff that didn't work out with it, and it was just like, okay, kinda sucks, but
Yeah,
so
definitely.
but
Yeah.
yeah, to your point, we get a Call of Duty game every other year, like, or every year, and they're from 2 different
Yeah.
companies for God's sake too. You get the Black
Yeah.
Ops stuff, you get Modern Warfare stuff. They have literally 2 different game divisions making the same goddamn game, and we can't even get
Yeah.
KOTOR 3, which is something that, like, everyone wants. I mean, if you played like, everybody who played KOTOR loved KOTOR. I don't know anybody who played it who didn't love it, you know?
I love 2 as well. Like, I
Mhm.
went back when 2 came out, and I started playing that. Like, I thought that was, I mean, maybe it wasn't quite as, the story wasn't quite as, I don't know, epic or whatever as the first, but it was still really damn good. Like, it was a great game.
It's hard to live up to the first one.
Sure, exactly.
Like, the first one, like, has, like, an M. Night Shyamalan twist at the end, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, especially because, like, I was a kid, so it's not like I could foresee that happening, that, like, "Oh,
Yeah.
shit, I am Revan. That's crazy." Like,
Yeah,
you know what
exactly.
I mean? Like, it just blew me away when I was playing it. And then
Right.
the second one, though, you just kinda knew the whole time that she was the bad guy. Like, I think that was kinda like the pitfall for it, where, like, the story wasn't as intriguing and didn't have that twist for you at the end. It was just, like, kinda predictable. I mean, you did get Darth
Mhm.
Nihilus stuff in the second one, which was kind of
Yeah.
the coolest part,
Darth
but
Nihilus
then
is cool.
yeah, but then you just kinda had to deal with like, he wasn't really in it enough. Like, he was just you go and you, like, fight his ghost, and then you move on. Like, it should have been more about Nihilus, like, in all honesty, not the whatever her fucking name was, the old lady, I can't remember her name.
It's been too long since I played.
Yeah. Because it'd be cool though to see like if they kind of combine the good elements of both being Nihilus into the first, story of like Revan and Malik and all that and blah blah blah, and somehow like Nihilus is involved and they just kind of retweak everything, cut out the bad stuff from 2. None of it was really bad. It was just kind of 2 was kind of rushed, so a lot of it wasn't as like thought out story wise. That was like it's really only Pitfall. So either way, in the end, whatever they do with this, if they're gonna slap a KOTOR brand on it or use Revan's my favorite character, so if they're gonna use him, I need it to be good. Like,
Yeah.
like Revan,
Right.
Malik, and Nihilus are some of the coolest characters like to ever be written in Star Wars. So I just want it to be good.
Make it good. Yeah.
Yeah, you make it good, then I'll be happy. So that's about it. Question is, guys, what do you think about this? Are you worried at all about? First off, these KOTOR games are pretty old. So have you played KOTOR? Have you played SWTOR? Let us know about that down in the comment section below. But if you have played them, are you kind of worried about the verbiage of this? Because I guess we should kind of like put an asterisk by this that none of this came straight from like Lucasfilm or anything. So they're the ones that are gonna have the overall say in what happens with any sort of story beats. So I guess we should probably wait and see before anybody gets too, gets their panties too much in a bunch let's wait for an official announcement from Lucasfilm to actually say what is actually happening as far as story and canon stuff goes. But otherwise, though, are you excited about any sort of KOTOR remake in general, whether it's just a remaster, a complete retool of everything, merging the games into one? Let us know what you think down in the comment section below. All right, guys. So our next topic is one that I guess I can officially put my reservations aside for, because I've been saying for years now, as we've been teased and said that this Flash movie was going to happen. It was announced what, like 6, 7 years ago at this point, pretty much as long as Black Adam was announced. I still haven't seen set photos from Black Adam. All I've seen is a picture of the clapper board thing. So it might not be happening. I still got to see some set photos before I'm 100% in belief that this stuff's actually happening. But theoretically speaking, the Flash movie with Ezra Miller and Andy Muschietti has officially started filming, and Andy Muschietti himself recently put out this little teaser announcement thing here, which showed off the new Flash logo, which you can kind of see here if you saw back at DC Fandom. They unveiled some like concept art that he had been working on for it, and it kind of teased like the Flash getting a new suit, and it was much more reminiscent to the new 52 suit. And you can see that still right here as well. Because if you're familiar with the new 52 suit at all, I guess I could just pull it up really quick, and then actually it might be a little bit easier. New 52 Flash. It has like these little yellow like lines kind of going through it. Let me pull a good picture of it up here. Here's a good. It's tiny, but that's what she said.
Hmm.
So, like, he's got, like not even it. Damn it.
No, that's Francis Manipul from.
Yeah, that's not the right one. I saw the light.
think
It was
the-
very small when I first clicked on it. Here we go. That looks more like it. Look at this. So this might be the lightning and not the suit. Damn it. This is making me how come when I wrote new 52 Flash in the Google search, it didn't just pull up the thing? No, that's it. That one's it. That's the new 52 Flash suit. That one works. Not this one.
Yeah.
But this one, that's it. It's just a weird image because the lightning's flying around through him. Because like it's on this figure. I mean, this is, I guess I can just pull this up. Like it has the little lightning stuff. It has the yellow kind of built into the suit here. That's pretty much the thing. It was the same suit that the Flash always wore, but they just added these little yellow details through it, right? But you can see that in the concept art that Andy Muschietti released for back in when Fandom came out. It had that design to it too. It looked like the Speed Force energy was kind of making its own, I don't know, like lines on the suit, which is I think the way they're going, and like that kind of bleeds through onto this little promo thing that they had here, so you can actually like see like this is the Flash's suit itself, and these little lines are like in the same kind of order and design as the new 52 suit was. That was kind of cool. Then the other news though that came after this was Michael Keaton was actually finally confirmed to be in this movie. So he came out a while back saying that he wasn't sure if he was going to be in it. He had the script for it. They wanted him in it, but he was concerned about COVID more than anything. But I guess they were able to convince him that they have the safe set and like all this stuff will be good. He's going to be in it. So that's good for anybody who was excited to see Michael Keaton's return. The only downside to this, though, if you're going to have any sort of negativity at all, is that they were moving forward with this movie without him signing on to this movie. So obviously, that kind of indicates he's going to have a very small role in the movie.
Not going to be anything major. It sounds
Yeah.
like.
So had he like not signed on to do it, the movie would have went on. So I don't know. The only thing I really want to see of Michael Keaton coming into this is just set up Batman Beyond, dude. That's all I would like to see. Like they bring him in here and he sets up, that Terry McGinnis scene, and like that's all I want. That's all I want at all. So, but guys, let's go to John here. You hear this information? What's exciting about you with this? They're finally filming the Flash. It is officially underway. Michael Keaton's officially returned. You recently picked up the '89 Batman hot toy figure. So, what are your thoughts on this? You may have frozen as well.
Yeah,
No, you're good.
I think I'm good. I actually, I'm over the moon excited to have Keaton back as Batman. I'm really curious what kind of role he is going to play and how he's going to play the character. I'm hoping he plays him, just kind of just try. I'm hoping he's able to step back into the role the way he did, in Batman and Batman Returns. It's amazing to think it's been, by the time this movie comes out, we'll be 30 years removed from the last time he played the role. So, it doesn't seem like, well, to old heads like me, it doesn't seem like that long ago. But it's been 30 years since Michael Keaton donned the cape and cowl, and so it's exciting in that regard. I am a little concerned, like you said, that his role in the movie is so, I don't know, removable, that if he had not been able to sign on, that they would have just, abandoned that part of the movie. Um, I too, like you, have been hoping that this would set up something like a possible Batman Beyond spinoff, because I think Michael Keaton playing a retired older Bruce Wayne just would be perfect. I mean, the timing alone is just perfect to bring him back into the role as the older Bruce Wayne. But my bigger concern is that they will tease us with that Ezra Miller's Flash will somehow cross over into 89 Batman universe, and he'll encounter Bruce, and he'll encounter a young uh boy that Bruce is training named Terry McGinnis. But that will be all we get, and then we'll never see that actually turn into anything. Um, so I'm afraid of what they might tease us with, but never actually give us with this announcement. I'm also concerned. The other thing that I'm concerned about is when news of Michael Keaton becoming Batman first came out, there was talk that his role in the movie was more than just like a simple, like, here he's going to be in it, a pop-in role or anything. There was talk of him being like the, what did they call it, like this Nick Fury, the Samuel Jackson of the DCEU. And obviously the DCEU really isn't a thing anymore, and they're kind of going off in a bunch of different directions. Um, but I'm a little concerned about that nobody really actually has good information about what's going on with them, because clearly if his role could have just been removed just because he was concerned about COVID and wasn't willing to film right now, then his role can't be big enough to be a Samuel Jackson, Nick Fury type role. It can't be big enough to be anything more than just a kind of drop-in segment in this movie. So we'll see. Maybe they had contingencies in place to um, film his role later on, or expand his role later on, um, and let him film scenes after COVID stuff settled down, but before the movie was actually finalized. I don't know. I don't know how what they're. I mean, obviously, this is something we just have to wait and see the movie. But the other thing I'll also mention is the promo image that you were talking about that was released with fandom had a Michael Keaton Batman esque character behind Flash, and so I feel like that's a. I feel like his role should be more in it, and I hope it is. But there was also recent talk that maybe Christian Bale's coming back, and there's already been talk that Ben Affleck's coming back. So it would be absolutely insane if they get all three of those back. And of course, what would be even more insane is if somehow they got George Clooney and Val Kilmer involved. But I think at this
That'd be
point, yep,
cool.
that's the promo that we're saying. But get all the living live action Batman on screen at one time. But I don't know. I kind of that might be a wish too far at this point.
Yeah, at that point too, I almost feel like you almost run the risk of it being like a Batman movie. That's the
Sure.
only weird thing about them, because I mean, having Michael Keaton's Batman be in there for a, like, time travel-y-esque thing makes sense, and then having Ben Affleck's in there because he was like, well, it's weird because in the Justice League, he was more of a mentor kind of figure to Barry, but in
Yeah.
the Snyder cut, he really wasn't. Like, he was just Batman and he was Flash. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like, that was
And
just it.
he went and got him, but
Yeah.
yeah, Flash was doing fine on his own at that point.
Yeah, and in Justice League, they made Flash out to be someone who got his powers, like, 2 days ago.
Yeah, and he said, like, I've never done battle. I've only pushed some people." And
Yeah,
like, yeah,
which
no, I know what you mean.
you brought up too a while back, which I think people forgot about. Like it's the canon in the movies actually completely discredits that because Ben Affleck's Batman was in Suicide Squad, but so was Flash capturing Boomerang.
Captain, yeah,
So it's like he obviously had been doing more than just pushing people and running away because he captured
yeah,
Boomerang. Like he got
yeah,
Boomerang
sure.
arrested. Like so it was like, uh, didn't really make a whole lot of
Yeah, he
sense if
was
you remember that.
established in Central City at that point, so.
Yeah, he had to have been. So, Rick, what are your thoughts on this? You excited to see old Keaton come back as Batman, or where you at with this?
Yeah. I'm not the biggest like DC fan, but I thought Michael Keaton was always like he was the original Batman, the OG to me, like as a kid. So I think it's interesting that they are bringing him back, and it'll be interesting to see in which way they do that. But as you mentioned, I don't think it's going to be anything major by any means. It just
You want to see if they? I know you're not the biggest like Batman fan in general, really. I guess like you like Batman,
he's
you
an
like
alright
Batman,
guy.
but yeah, he's a good dude. But how familiar are you with like Batman Beyond? You want to see like would you like to
That would
see
be
that
cool.
part set up?
I know you love Batman Beyond.
I love Batman Beyond more than most people love
I'll
Batman
put it
Beyond.
this way: when we were kids, my
It's
brother
good.
watched Batman Beyond. I would kind of tune in every now and then, and I was like, "It's pretty cool." Um, but I mean, it'd be an interesting way to set that up.
Yeah, I mean, it's like John said, it's kind of like it'd almost be a missed opportunity to not, even because I totally get where like John's coming from as well, where like it would be a damn shame for them to actually like tease that and then it never happens. That's all you get. But it would also be cool for them to at least acknowledge it in some way. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know. So it'd be definitely a give and take because I'd love to see it, but it would be kind of heartbreaking to have it like set up, especially so like poetically with Keaton as the old man Bruce to just then be something we never actually get to see like ever happen.
Right.
That'd be it'd be it'd be a really bad it'd be a good and bad thing at the same time. It'd be really
True.
bad. It'd be a difficult situation. But, elsewise, I'm still kinda more shocked that this movie is finally supposedly happening, more so than anything.
Yeah. Right.
So,
What do you think the outcome of this movie is? I mean, I I understand that they're, whatever this Justice League, Snyder's Justice League was a cul-de-sac. And apparently, you can't turn a car around in a cul-de-sac, although I'm pretty sure you can. But regardless, like apparently that was going nowhere. But clearly, they're continuing with Ezra Miller. They're continuing with Jason Momoa. They're continuing with Gal Gadot. Um, w- does Flashpoint just does Ezra Miller come out of the end of Flashpoint as the Flash of a New 52-esque world where, he's in a different universe than he was at the beginning of the movie, that he's altered his life in some way that has changed the universe from where he begins the movie, which is, was firmly in the Snyderverse. And now, we shoehorn in Aquaman and Wonder Woman into this new universe. Is DC really just abandoning the idea of a shared universe and Flash I mean, I don't have any idea what they're doing. And I get that they've fallen in love, like made $1 billion. I get DC is like Warner Brothers fell in love with the idea of one-offs that don't connect. But I think as a DC fan, as a comic fan, who at least most of us have grown up reading stories of our characters connected. Not all the time. I understand. I don't want every movie doesn't have to have this huge tie into every other movie, but the universes are shared. You do like the possibility that your heroes can show up in each other's stories occasionally. And so I don't know what to think. I don't know what to think about what they're doing or where this movie's going to end up.
that's like the million-dollar question because I think in some way they might just use it as a way of explaining the multiverse to, like, the general audience just so they can continue on doing their, like, disconnected movies. You know what I mean? Like, they're gonna have
Yeah,
this Flash go into Keaton World at some point, so, like, that alone is gonna at least connect those 2, and, like, they might go into more stuff and who knows, but it'll be kind of like a very visually easily attainable, like, way of saying, like, "Yeah, this stuff's connected, but it's all different." and it doesn't
Yeah.
all have to, one thing that happens here isn't going to affect something that happens there necessarily, which they kind of already do, like with Wonder Woman in a lot of ways, because Wonder Woman's never really taken place in the present day. So like they all, and then like somehow in Wonder Woman 84, she learned how to fly, but never knew how to fly in the other movies that
Right.
happened after that.
Yeah.
So
That's
like they just kind of like
screwy.
retcons. Like I feel like all they really want to do is just make a movie and just like tell a good story, which is what you should do. And like the universe stuff should happen like after that stuff. But I don't really necessarily think they're going to use it as a way to like 'cause some people always just thought they were going to use Flashpoint just to essentially delete or reset the Snyderverse kind of stuff.
Mhm.
I don't think they're
Yeah.
going to do that. I think if anything, I don't even really think they're going to use it for like what I was saying before. Like they're not making this movie just so people see that a multiverse is there and they can move on, but it will inherently do that, I think. And I think that's why Walter Amada at DC Fandom was saying, like, we're going to be leaning heavily into the multiverse now. And I think the Flash movie, just in the nature of what they're doing with it, will just be, like I said, like a very easy visual representation of what Warner Brothers actually plans on doing with their DC movies. Because, like, him being able to go in and visit Michael Keaton's Batman while he's in a movie with Ben Affleck's Batman will just make it easier for people to say, "Oh, that Robert Pattinson Batman is just another Batman." Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's not
See,
replacing Ben, it's just there. Like
I'm afraid it's going to be one of these deals where it's just going to be an excuse for them to get real lazy with their writing. Like
Yeah.
I'm afraid they're gonna decide they're gonna be like, oh, okay, yeah, so we want to use Gal Gadot in the next Aquaman movie, so we're gonna write her in there. Oh, but wait a minute, and then the next Wonder Woman movie, something that happened in that movie contradicts it. So you know what we're gonna say? Multiverse. And it's just gonna be an excuse to lazily write these stories just however they. I understand. I get the idea of um just telling the best story possible and not having to necessarily keep that continuity intact. Um, but I also feel like that's that's the genre you've chosen to tell these stories in. Superheroes have a continuity to them. I think it's one of the reasons that they've endured for so long. And while we do reset that continuity from time to time, there have been big events like Crisis on Infinite Earths and Infinite Crisis and other big events and New 52, which have reset, especially with regards to DC. I also feel like those are few and far between, and for the most part, people like the idea of being able to come back and say, "Oh yeah, remember when that happened?" It's one of the things I think
Hmm.
that makes the Marvel franchise so successful is that, you know, when when Falcon gets handed that shield, there's a history there that means something. It's not just a, lazy like, oh, by the way, yeah, they were friends before. Right? We're just gonna write that in now and say they were friends before. There's a history. Those moments mean something when you've built them up over years. And really afraid of that DC has fallen in love with this idea of, no, let's just tell these one-off stories and we'll connect them if and when we choose to, how we want. And it's going to get just, I don't know, it's going to be lame, I think, unfortunately.
that's the one reason you froze, by the way. That's the one reason I don't really like the time travel multiversey stuff because it is just like it can become convoluted for one, which is why Infinite Crisis like happened and they deleted all the universes like because it was
Hmm.
just getting convoluted.
Right.
But you just run the risk of like things not making sense, but then you just have the cop out of saying, "Well, that's multiverse." Like, "Oh, that didn't make sense.
Yeah.
Oh, it's multiverse. Oh, that person died. Well, multiverse." Like, it's like it's a
Blame the
different one,
multiverse. Yeah.
and that is like you run that risk doing it. So, like, I hope they stay more true to like how multiverse stuff started, which was just telling cool, new, interesting stories in other worlds, as opposed to like the moment they have any sort of like thing happen like that and they say, "Oh, well, it was multiverse stuff," that's when I'm gonna start worrying about it. You know what I mean?
That's That's the other part. DC hasn't proven that they can manage one universe, let alone
It's true.
multiple universes. I mean, what
It is
the?
very true.
I don't know. I hope it's good. I'm excited about Keaton coming back. I'm excited about these other things, but I just the DC has done nothing, nothing to garner any faith that they have a good plan in place for what they're doing with these characters. I shouldn't say DC. Warner Brothers has not done anything. Maybe Hamada, maybe now that he's got the reins, maybe he'll be that guiding force that they need and do something good. But I don't know. I'm very apprehensive about the future of DC movies.
Yeah, I hope so, but I'm also very skeptical. Like I always say, and like I said up at the top of this, they've had this movie in the works for been like 6 some years or something. And it's the
Yeah.
same with Black Adam. It's like I still am holding out, just like, oh, I need to see set photos. I need to see more than just this announcement. Like, I mean, I don't even know if it's happening. I still don't know. Like, they're telling me it's happening, but I was told that 6, 7 years ago. So,
Yeah.
Right.
like, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe things will change. I hope things will change. I hope they've had some success since Hamada has came in. Granted, like I'm still skeptical even about that because some things were already in motion when Hamada came in, so it's hard to even say how much he really had some hands-on stuff with. But I liked everything he said at DC Fandom, and he seemed to have a real grasp on where he wanted it to go. So, like, that has me hopeful at the very least. This is definitely something that has shepherded in, like the Flash movie is definitely something that's been under Hamada because the thing has gone through so many different cycles of like who knows? There's been 6 different directors attached to this thing. It's supposed to come out like 6 years ago. So whatever this version of Flash was it definitely was ushered in by Hamada. So it might be our kind of first real clear indication of like what Hamada's like kind of view on DC is. So I'm interested in that. So, but whatever you guys think about Michael Keaton returning and this Flash movie and all that stuff, you let us know down in the comment section below. All right, guys. So our kind of penultimate topic here before we get into our Falcon and Winter Soldier finale spoiler-filled discussion here, is there were just kind of two big news stories here, and not really big, but there was some. One was kind of I don't know. It really depends on what you think is a big news story, really. But this is MCU related, kind of some casting information and a confirmation on another person here, and we'll kick it off with that one here because last week, I think it was last week, word came out maybe a couple weeks ago actually. Nevertheless, we got news that Russel Crowe was kind of rumored to be like on the set of Thor 4, but then he was kind of confirmed he did have a role in Thor 4. Well, now he's kind of spilled the beans on what exactly he is doing in Thor 4, Love and Thunder. And it turns out he's playing Zeus. And he had like a couple he had a little quote down here. Eventually he said like it's like I'm gonna get on my bicycle, Crow said, and then oh, what did he say? Okay, I'm gonna ride up to Disney Fox Studios, and around about 9:15, I shall be Zeus. And I just imagine Russell Crowe's just very like smooth, like his accent he had in Man of Steel saying that is what I thought of in my
Yeah.
head. I can't do it, so I'm not gonna do it.
Hmm.
But it just made me laugh because he's like he can be a funny guy sometimes.
Yeah.
And just imagine him saying that just with a little grin on his face, and then he said that, he'll just be, like, Zeusing about, like, and it'll be his last day Zeusing about. It just was just funny to me, probably just me, but I thought that was kind of interesting because the first thing I thought when, they said this, that he was gonna be Zeus, was that is the MCU actually gonna be introducing, like, their pantheon of the Greek gods and, like, Hercules and all that stuff? Is that actually gonna be a thing? Or is this 'cause Hercules has shown up in a lot of, like, kind of Avengers related things, like, in multiple mediums, but he's never been as the Greek gods are, like, not as big and popular as they are in DC's world, but they're there. So, it's interesting to see, like, if that's gonna be anything other than this, like, fun cameo, but it seems like it's just gonna be a fun cameo, but it could possibly set up some more stuff. But then with, the Secret Invasion series here that was recently announced, we have 2 pretty big casting informations here. We have no news on what these 2, ladies are gonna be doing, but Olivia Colman and Amelia Clark have scored some sort of roles in the Secret Invasion series. Some people are like, thinking that, I forget the character's name, but there's, like, a think it's either an alien leader of Sword or she's a Skrull leader of Sword. I forget, but the leader of Sword might be who Amelia Clark is going to be playing. I don't know. I don't really know enough about it to really put any speculation to it myself. I just think, I mean, Olivia Colman is an Oscar-winning actress, so you can't go wrong adding talent. She's great. Loved her in Broadchurch. That was a great show. Go watch that. It was on Netflix for a long time. David Tennant was in it as well. If you're a fan of Doctor Who and or Jessica Jones, good show. And then Amelia Clark, obviously, Daenerys Targaryen, Mother of Dragons herself. Who the hell knows? But I don't know. You guys got any thoughts, John? You're a little bit more well versed in the comic book lore than old Rick Metz is. So you got any ideas on what these two would be playing, and then what you think of Russell Crowe playing Zeus in the Thor movie?
Yeah, honestly, I don't have a guess as to what roles they'd be playing. I'm more surprised by the lack of announcements about other characters coming back. I mean, the whole premise of Civil War or Secret Invasion was that a couple years. The whole premise of Secret Invasion was that Skrull, at least in the comics, was that Skrulls had infiltrated the Earth's heroes, and that some of the heroes were not actually the heroes that you had been following for the past how many ever decades. That at some point they had been replaced by Skrulls. So it would be more, I'm shocked that we haven't heard something about, say, like
Returning actors or something?
tonight, huh? Right? Yeah. No, I'm shocked that we haven't heard more about, like, like Paul Rudd is going to guest star in Secret Invasion or something. I guess if they do that, though, then they automatically start creating a list of, well, maybe this person has been replaced, or maybe that person has been replaced. So I guess maybe that makes more sense as to why we're not hearing casting news about this. But for these particular castings, I mean, I'm super happy with them. Obviously we talk about this all the time with MCU, but I can't think of a role that they've cast that they've done a bad job with.
It's true.
So Amelia Clark, like, loved her. I thought she was phenomenal in Game of Thrones up until the writing failed her. So I'm super happy. I always was hoping that they do more with the Solo series, because I really liked her character in the Solo series or the Solo movie, and they just didn't do anything else with that movie, even though they could have. So she's getting a chance to become part of this franchise. I hope she has more to do than just a one-off thing in this series. So yeah, so that's, and then Russell Crowe. I mean, I love Russell Crowe. I like a ton of the stuff that he's ever been in, plus obviously Man of Steel. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of role he has. I think Hercules has always been one of the. He's not one of the main Avengers that you think of right away, but he's had a large role in the Avengers in the comics for decades now, and he's been a major member of the team for various incarnations of the team. So it would make sense for them to expand that pantheon a little bit and bring him in along with some of the other gods.
No, yeah. Every time you freeze, I'm gonna switch you over.
Oh boy,
that way you have a visual cue. But this
that works.
That'll be you.
Oh, then man. It's embarrassing.
It might be Discord, honestly. I don't know.
Yeah, I might just need to reset my computer too. We'll see.
Yeah, it's probably just Discord. But we'll do that. Anytime you freeze, bam. There he is.
Yeah. That's perfect.
That'll be good.
That's awesome.
Rick, what do you think about this? So you like this casting information in the Zeus? I know you're not familiar with like Zeus and stuff as far as that goes, but
I like Russell Crowe. I think he's a great actor. I think that'd be a good role for him to play. He seems like he'd do a good Zeus. Just in general, I don't know like what Zeus he's going to be like with this, but I think it's a good choice, and can never go wrong with Amelia Clark. And then Olivia Colman, I'm not as well like versed with, but sounds like she's a good actress.
She's damn good. I'm telling you, if you haven't watched Broadchurch, go watch Broadchurch. If you like detective shows, like it's like a whodunit kind of thing. Murder. It's not really a murder mystery whodunit kind of. It's a detective show. It's like a cop show, but it's like a serious drama. It's not like a procedural thing. It's like a 10-episode thing. Her and David Tennant are detectives. They got to solve this one crime over this. So it's a very long form drama based thing.
Yeah.
Is it just the one season?
2 seasons.
2 seasons?
Yeah, but they're
I
like
will
8 to 10 episodes.
I will definitely add that because the last thing you told me to watch, Dark, I cannot say enough good things about. So
Dark's great. I need to go back and finish it because I loved it. The first season was great. I watched like a couple episodes of season 2, and I just never. It's just something that there's just so much content. It
yeah,
just fell off the
definitely.
radar.
I've got 4 episodes left of the last season. I'm gonna be disappointed when it's over. It's that good for me, but
Yeah, it's really good, and it's surprising
took
too
its a
because
little
it's like a German show or something, and they like
yeah.
Netflix bought it and stuff. So, if you haven't watched Dark, definitely go watch Dark. But if you don't like subtitles and having to read subs and stuff, they have audio dubs for a couple different languages for it. So there is an English
Pretty
dub.
well
So,
done too, yeah.
yeah, it's
Pretty
not
well
bad.
done.
Like
Yeah.
the voice acting they did for it, it's spotty at times, but it's not like an audiobook reading. It was
It doesn't
dra-
pull you out of the show
yeah.
entirely. Yeah.
It was dramatically done, and the every once in a while, like what they're saying because they're speaking freaking German, the voice it obviously like doesn't line up perfectly, but it's pretty good. Like you get the point across if you just want to be able to listen. They do have the English dubs if that's more for you. So,
Yeah.
but yeah. I guess the question here is though, guys, is what do you think about these castings here? Are you excited? And two, I guess the last thing I'll put in the Secret Invasion thing. I don't really know. I'm not expecting to see them bring back like a lot of people. Like I don't expect to see like Chris Evans return and as a Skrull. You know what I mean? I don't think it would be something that Chris Evans would want to do. Like just like come back and be the fake version of the character he played for like 10 years. I don't know, like same with like RDJ. I don't see that happening. No, that's not to say that like maybe some people would come in and do it. I don't think just like the MCU has kind of shown for over the last 10 years and 20 some odd movies, they take inspiration from the comics, but they never just straight up remake and retell the exact story from the comics. Like Civil War was nothing like Civil War in the comics. Ultron was nothing like Civil War or Ultron in the comics, rather. So I'm expecting this will follow suit. I mean, WandaVision was nothing like House of M, but very similar. You know what I mean? Granted, they didn't call that House of M, but they're obviously, I mean, I guess not obviously, but my assumption is that the Secret Invasion thing is going to be vastly different than what happened in the comics. Like, I don't expect they're going to be like scroll versions of all the Avengers essentially that there were from the comic series. I don't know what they're going to do. They could keep it a lot more streamlined and just say that they've taken over some government agents. Like, who knows? We'll just have to wait and see. But let us know what you think about that down in the comment section below. All right, guys. So our final topic here kind of leads into our actual final topic, which is our Falcon and Winter Soldier finale spoiler review and discussion here. But shortly after that dropped, news broke that they are indeed working on a Captain America 4 film, a feature film with the showrunner from the showrunner Falcon Winter Soldier, Malcolm Spellman. So they're working on that. They're writing a script. So obviously, this seems like they're gonna just piggyback right off of Falcon and Winter Soldier, make this Captain America 4 film, and then who knows? Now, the only thing that I thought was kind of interesting was that I kind of assumed, and especially because of the kind of end tag that you may have missed in at the end of Falcon Winter Soldier, once they go through the first batch of the credits where they have all like the art, so the art credits, the main credits, the tag switch to like Marvel Presents Captain America and the Winter Soldier. So my initial thought was, well, that means that the next one, like my mind immediately went to they're in fact going to do a season 2 of this because they're kind of all the shows that they've announced. Well, not all of them, because a lot of them. I mean, we kind of already have confirmation from the showrunner of Loki that he's working on a Loki season 2. So they're probably going to be doing a season 2 of Loki. considering. I mean, they said that the showrunner himself said he was writing for it, but like WandaVision, I never expected there to be a WandaVision 2. It really wouldn't make any sense. Another show about Wanda, yeah, that means potentially. It just kind of depends on where her character's at the end of Doctor Strange, I suppose. But Falcon and Winter Soldier just lent itself to being like a continuous story. Like you just have more adventures of Sam and Bucky. I mean, it just kind of lends itself. So, especially with the end of the series having this little end tag here, the title card changes to Captain America and the Winter Soldier. I just assumed, okay, so cool. So season 2 is going to be called Captain America and the Winter Soldier. But like I said, shortly, it was like the day of, I think, the news broke that they're making a movie. That doesn't mean that there's not going to be a season 2 of, I guess Captain America and the Winter Soldier. But the movie will more than likely come first. I mean, who knows? But we'll just have to wait and see. Rick, what do you think about this? You think they're do you think they're gonna make this Captain America movie come out before like a second season? Do you think there's gonna be a
Yeah,
second season?
for
What do you
sure.
think?
As soon as you said that, I don't think there's going to be a second season, and I think the movie's going to be obviously if there was a second season, I think the movie would come out first. But I don't know why. I just don't think there's going to be a second season. I mean, they didn't really leave anything off other, like something big could happen or some. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but um, I don't know. Like it'd be a cool movie to see Sam's Captain America.
Do you think so you don't think there's gonna be a second season at all though? Do you
No,
think the
because
movie will come out then second season?
I think Marvel's just doing these kind of like one and done sort of things, like they did with WandaVision, where they just kind of wrap the story up and that's it. On to the next one. So
Yeah, with this one, it's kind of interesting to me because it honestly seems like this one's a little different than WandaVision because WandaVision was its own self-contained story, and then she's going to be in another film. Wanda's never had her own movie. There's never been a Scarlet Witch movie. There have been 3 Captain America movies leading up to this Falcon Winter Soldier like spin-off thing with characters that were seen in that movie. But with this, it'll be kind of the first. Granted, we're sort of new in the MCU TV series days here, but there's only been 2 of them so far that we've seen. But it's interesting to see that they're literally telling this story in Falcon and Winter Soldier, like show that Cap gets there's a new Cap, right? Like Falcon gets a shield, he's Cap now, and blah blah, and then that's it. Now he gets his own feature film. It was like literally telling like the prequel story to the next Captain America movie, but in the form of a television series. Which I thought was actually kind of cool. If they're going to be doing more of that, like introduce a character in like their own TV series, and then after that, they get their movie. Like that'd be kind of cool. I don't think it would really work for everybody. It definitely works with this because it lends itself to it, just as a franchise. Because there's been 3 Captain America movies. We were without a Captain America after Endgame. You set this show up. Now we have a Captain America, so you can do another Captain America movie. I think that kind of makes sense. John, what are your thoughts on this Captain America movie and a potential season 2? Where you at?
I was really happy to hear that they're doing a Captain America. More or less, I guess it's 4. I mean, it's kind of it's a new Captain America, so I'm not really sure the 4. I understand why the 4 is there, but I'm glad that they're doing it because I think there's a lot of potential there with Sam. I think he did an excellent job. Anthony Mackie obviously has done an excellent job with Sam's character and his growth and his kind of him especially in this series, him coming to accept the role of Captain America. So I hope that he gets his own movie to kind of showcase his talents and also just establish this Captain America on the broader stage for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That being said, I kind of tend to agree with Rick. I think this might be a one and done deal for Marvel. I think that, and I'm guilty of this too. When I say what I'm about to say, I'm not commenting on anybody else or the general. I'm just saying in general, I think that streaming has completely changed fundamentally how networks and production studios view entertainment and how they release entertainment. I think everybody when they hear that, company X is doing a season of X, that implies that there will be, since it's a season of it, that it'll be a series. It will be ongoing. That it will return for other seasons. I think Marvel is, and they started to do this even from the jump. Iron Man, I guess Iron Man did have Iron Man 2 and Iron Man 3, but Captain America didn't have Captain America 2. It had Captain America the Winter Soldier, and then it had Captain America Civil War. They haven't been numerically numbering a lot of their sequels. Ant-Man 2 wasn't Ant-Man 2 : Ant-Man and the Wasp. It was just Ant-Man and the Wasp. I think Marvel has taken this approach that each project is kind of its own deal, and if it makes sense to tell it as maybe a more long form series, then they'll go ahead and take that opportunity to tell the story in that format. But if it makes more sense to show it as a theatrical big budget movie, they'll take that approach with it. And I think people are looking at stuff like Falcon and Winter Soldier being nominated under a drama category instead of a limited series category for Emmys or whatever, as indication that it's coming. We were just talking about an article that said that they were doing that, and how that's an indication they could be getting a second season. And I think that may just be Marvel gaming the system. I think they might very well bring these characters back and do what I guess technically might be a second season of Falcon and Winter Soldier, or Captain America and Winter Soldier, but they probably, in all likelihood, would call it something different. It would be, I have no idea what, but it would probably relate to whatever was going on at that time in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I think we're also seeing that in a way with the Disney stuff and The Mandalorian. I know The Mandalorian came back for season 2, but we're also now following, we've got the Book of Boba Fett coming. We've got other spin-off projects coming, and who knows what shape or form The Mandalorian comes back in. If it comes back just as The Mandalorian season 3, or if it comes back as, I don't know, The Mandalorians, plural, where he tries to reestablish Mandalore. And I just think that with the streaming, what am I thinking of? The streaming environment has changed the way that these production studios are thinking of how they release content and what it means to be, like, whether or not they need to do ongoing series or anything. Because and this is, I know I've gotten real long-winded here, but this is a way to make it easier to bring in new people. It's intimidating for some people to sit down and think, well, I don't want to jump into season 5 of this show if I haven't seen seasons 1 through 4. And I know we're only talking about the second season in a lot of these cases, but by cutting that off right away, just doing single series that are titled something new each time, you give people an easy entry point. While yes, technically there's stuff they could have seen before, it's not right there in their face. You're not throwing it right in their face by saying, hey, it's Falcon and Winter Soldier season 7, like, come back and watch it, again. If they want somebody new to come in, it makes it easier when they think it's a brand new thing. So we'll see where it goes, but I am happy that they're doing the movie as well. I think that I'm really excited that Sam's going to get his chance to be the Cap that he should be, and still have Cap be one of the big main heroes of the MCU.
Yeah, to touch on that too, you brought up a good point with like the people coming in and everything. The one thing that like most studios would do, like, and most like companies would do, is kind of how entertainment just works. Like, if season 1's a hit, you get renewed for season 2. If season
Sure.
2's a hit, you get renewed for season 3. So it's kind of like just par for the course for people to like look at WandaVision and be like, well, that was the number 1 show in the world. They're obviously going to do another one. Kevin Feige's not going to do that. Like, Kevin Feige's not going to just make a movie for the sake of making a movie. He's already said, and he's proven, that if there's a story to tell, they'll tell the story. They're not
Yep.
just going to like make the movie just to make the movie. If they did that, they wouldn't be as successful as they are. Like, and they're like, because a lot of other companies wouldn't. I wouldn't fault them for it. Like, if Disney wanted to make Falcon Winter Soldier or Captain America Winter Soldier season 2 because it was, super successful, that's how it goes. That would make sense. But when you have someone like Kevin Feige there in charge, who's the buck stops there. Like, Disney's not going to try to. Disney wouldn't pull that stuff with Kevin Feige, or Kevin Feige would walk. That's kind of the thing. He has complete creative control over this Marvel stuff, and I don't think anybody is going to argue with what Kevin Feige wants to do with his stuff. So I think if Kevin Feige in the end wants to do, you know, another season or gets a pitch for another story after this movie, then it'll happen. But I think you're right in the sense that like most places, they want their series to be good and be long form because that means it's doing good. You know, like Supernatural went on for like 15 seasons, and like it's because it did good for them, and it kept coming back, and there it was. So I don't know. I could see with this one, the only reason I would think that it would come back for it is just purely for the simple fact that it works story wise. You could easily come up with another story for, you know, Bucky and Cat and Falcon, and then just move on with it.
Yeah.
But elsewise, they'll just have to wait and see. I do like the move of doing a fourth entry of the movie. I think that'll be cool. So we'll just have to wait and see. But we're going to talk more about this here in just a second once we get into our spoiler-filled discussion of the finale. Anywho, so but whatever you think about them actually doing a Captain America 4, the actual feature film here, presumably and kind of obviously moving on with our new Captain America himself, let us know what you think about that down in the comment section below. All right, guys, so moving right along here, this is the spoiler kind of, warning. We are going to talk, even though I guess I should have gave a spoiler warning for the previous segment, obviously, but the news was out there, so it is what it is. But spoiler-filled warning if you haven't seen the actual finale. Although, like I said, we did just kind of cover some stuff that kind of happened in the finale, but it was kind of by virtue of that news story that's already public information, so it kind of is what it is. Sorry about that if you hadn't seen it. But we're going to get into the Falcon Winter Soldier finale here, give our kind of thoughts, review that, and everything. So, just right off the top for me, I thought they ended it very well. I know some people, and some people maybe in this room here, thought it was kind of like a rushed episode, thought they threw a lot of information at you. I didn't really feel that. I thought it was fine. I thought everything was good. I tend to feel like all of these things are kind of too short anyway. Like in these episodes, like thank God they were not 20 minutes long like WandaVision was. I hated it. Like it's every time I've said it before, and I'll say it again, especially if Loki is the same way. Every time I got into the episode of WandaVision, it was just over. Then I was looking at credits, and then I'd look and see how long the episode is, and it's like, "Oh, cool, it's 30 minutes," and then you get into it, and it's like, "Oh, but that's 13 minutes of credits." Like, it was only 20 minutes long. Like, I hated it. I hated it. And I would have kind of liked to have seen some areas of the entire series of this show, The Falcon Winter Soldier or Captain America and the Winter Soldier, whatever we wanna call it now. I would have liked to have seen the whole thing, like, kind of spread out a bit. Like, there were some things that, like, they just did rush by nature of they did this in 6 episodes. Had they done it in 10 or 13, it wouldn't have felt as rushed. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't like, they had I feel like a lot of the stuff with, US agent, John Walker, I liked the character, and I liked the way he's portrayed. They could have definitely expanded on him a little bit more, had a couple more scenes with him, flush his character out a little bit more. Um, the Sharon Carter thing as well. She just kind of popped up randomly, did some things, and then was gone. But I like where all this stuff was going. I liked where everything went. We obviously could have used more of Zemo dancing, obviously. Um, so I mean, I think overall I really enjoyed the show. It worked for me. I like how everything ended. I think the biggest takeaway from this, before we get into actually like breaking stuff down in any way, was going into this thing, I didn't want them to just give somebody the shield and now they're Captain America. Pretty much like they did with John Walker. Because it's like that's not how it works. Like you're not Captain America. Like that's just a shield and that's just a name. Like Steve Rogers is Captain America. That's how it works. But they gave very good narrative purpose and reasoning for Sam and his journey throughout the entire show to actually become Captain America and have that moniker actually mean something in a different way than it meant something as Steve Rogers being Captain America, but also in a just as important, if not like more important way for him to be Captain America. It wasn't him just putting on a suit and just, I'm Captain America now, like, and I'm going to go out and do things as Captain America. Like, he has reasons to not want to do it at the beginning of the show, and then at the end of the show, there were damn good reasons for him to actually do it. So I really appreciated the actual narrative purpose behind all that, primarily because when I went into it, I didn't want him to be called Captain America. I just wanted him to keep being Falcon and just use the shield. I thought that'd be fine. I don't know why he'd have to call himself Captain America. But the fact that they went into all the stuff with Isaiah and gave like again like a strong narrative purpose for like Sam to be like a black man as Captain America and have that mean something like for the overall MCU world in general and like I mean even our world. I liked that. It was good. And now like I'm because they took the extra steps to actually flush that out, like I'm happy he's calling himself Captain America because it means something. You know what I mean? So but what was your guys's Rick, what was your thoughts on the show overall? We can get more into it here.
You pretty much summed it up. I mean, like the whole not wanting to be Captain America at first, and then throughout the series, just kind of finding reason to be Captain America. And then for me, I thought it was cool seeing him as Captain America at the end of it. I was like, damn, all right, okay, he's doing this, and he did it well. And
He did some cool stuff with the suit and the shield and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. And John Walker kind of redeemed himself in my book. Just gonna say it. I mean, it was weird to see him like just helping them, and they're like totally cool with it. But I mean, I guess what else was supposed to happen? I will say though, the show Winter Soldier Bucky, he's definitely not a standout character. Like it's almost more like Falcon, and Bucky's just there as like support almost. That's what I think. But I liked it. It was a good show. We talked about it on the stream a little bit. I thought it was a little rushed. Just way too much stuff happening in one episode, but it wrapped up well. So
Yeah, I know I've heard a lot of people say it was kind of rushed, and that's where like I felt that way about the whole thing. Like, you know what I
oh
mean?
yeah,
Like that's like what I was saying. Like I could have used
They do
10
that-
episodes of this.
that's
you
what they do
know?
with these shows. Yeah, they just have to
They're just so
congeal it
short.
into one.
Yeah. Like WandaVision was how long was WandaVision? 9 episodes, but it was I think it had less of a runtime. Like people kept saying you said this before, people kept complaining about, oh, we only have like 2 episodes left of this, and we had 4 episodes of WandaVision at this point in time. It's like, yeah, but WandaVision, I think runtime is shorter in all 9 episodes than this.
Yeah,
It's like that was a short ass show. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter if they stretched it out 9 weeks. It means nothing. It was still less content.
right.
No, it might not have been, but it may have been around the same. I don't really, but I feel like I think Falcon Winter Soldier was longer. Like
I would
it
say
had to
so.
have been longer. All the episodes averaged like an hour. All of Wanda's averaged like 20 minutes.
Yeah,
So it has like 3 hours on it or something. Like there's just more
Right.
content there, or 2 hours or something.
something.
Either way, who cares? I could obviously I could watch this stuff all day. I will agree with you in some ways. Like this wasn't supposed to be Bucky's show. It was obviously about Falcon becoming Captain America. I don't know if that was the point. But Winter Soldier being like my favorite character in the damn MCU, I would have liked to have seen more. But that's
Yeah, I get
just
that.
me. So, John, what do you think about it overall, though?
I love the series overall. I do feel that the last episode was a little rushed. And I'm not exactly sure why that is. I feel like they could have added another 15 minutes to that last episode and fleshed out some of the decisions that were made, so some of the character motivations that were made a little better. But overall, I thought it was an excellent series. It maintained that high bar that Marvel has set for all their projects. I was happy that Sam obviously becomes Captain America. I was happy that Bucky, as much as I get where you're coming from, that Bucky is the main crux of the story is about Sam and what happens with the shield, and I get that. That's definitely true. But there was some great character growth and development that happened with Bucky. He has the great scene with Sam where in the previous episode where Sam is kind of using his experience as a kind of trauma counselor for these guys and gals that have been in war situations, and kind of says to Buck, look, you've been trying to avenge stuff that you've done before, but you haven't done the work. You haven't tried to actually heal those wounds that you feel responsible for. And And to see Bucky go and have the conversation with the older man about what happened with his son, like that was a scene that emotionally was impactful and worked for me. But I also feel like it could have even been more impactful had they given it another couple minutes of airtime, had they expanded that conversation, have Bucky, because I think, oh God, I'm going to forget his name. The guy that plays Bucky,
Sebastian Stan.
Sebastian Stan, thank you. As with that, as we saw with that scene where they're testing him to make sure the coating is gone around the fireplace from a few episodes prior. He's such a great actor that he could have pulled off that scene a lot more had they given him some more material to work with. But it almost felt like they were just wrapping things up, and they felt like they had to get the show done, and they kind of brushed over that scene. They gave you the highlights of what was going on, but I felt like that scene could have had a little more space to breathe in. And but overall it was good. I kind of forget where else I was going with that. So I felt like Bucky still had some significant character growth and development in the series. So I was happy with where his character ended up at the end. Sam was great. They introduced some stuff. Part of me wonders how much of this show is the narrative of this show is impacted by the pandemic. I mean, we've heard things about Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character, Contessa something de Farincia, I forget.
Val.
We've heard, yeah, Val. We've heard that she's she was supposed to have debuted in Black Widow, and that this was kind of supposed to be her second appearance. So it'll be curious to see how well it plays after we've seen her in Black Widow, if her role in this makes more sense. And then we talked on the stream last night about I personally felt like the John Walker stuff felt very rushed, because at the end of the previous episode, we see his last two scenes in the previous episode are, not counting the final cap where he's making his janky DIY cap shield, but the last two scenes we see him, one is him yelling at the governing committee who anointed him Captain America, that they can't take it away from him. He's Captain America. They have no authority to take that away from him, and storming out in a rage. And then him talking with Val. And those were the last two scenes. There was nothing in between that and him in this episode kind of redeeming himself. I do feel that they tried to redeem him. I completely agree with Rick that when he makes the choice to save the van of civilians versus go after Carly, that's definitely them showing, hey, he's trying to do the right thing. He's trying to build himself. But there was no scene that showed him showing remorse for the things he had done, or showing him have this epiphany, or this even the consideration that the way he had been going about things might be the wrong way, and that maybe he had gone over the line and he needed to reanalyze the way he approached things. So I'm his character motivations and some of the stuff they did with him were a little, I don't know, for lack of a better way to put it, forced to me. But overall, excellent series, very good. Those are very minor quips, and I feel bad even kind of mentioning him in a way, because so much of the rest of it was so good.
Yeah, and that's the thing with John Walker. I don't feel like he was really redeemed. I'm in the complete opposite camp of this, where I don't think he was did a bad thing. I just feel like he made the choice that he would have made pre-serum and all that stuff. Like, he was a soldier, he would have been given orders to get the civilians out, so he did that. Like, he did what he was trained to do in that situation. Because
True.
as Bucky and Sam had complete character growth throughout the story, like I said off the top, and like you said, at the beginning, Bucky couldn't go through and give his, amends to everybody or whatever, and at the end he does. Sam didn't want to be Captain America, at the end he does. John Walker is in the same place he was at the beginning as he was at the end. It's the same thing. Like, he had no real growth. He's the same guy, which
Yeah.
is not a bad thing. It just means that we should at least see way more of that. Because you're right, he didn't have that come to Jesus moment. He just, in my opinion, he just did what he would have done in any situation. Like, he saved the people.
Right.
That's it is what it is. So you could say in that moment, though, he set his vengeance aside. But I feel like, as a soldier, that's what he would have been given orders to do, and that's kind of why he did it. Like, it wasn't out of character for him to save the people, really. You know what I mean? Like,
No.
it was, I guess, out of the character that we've seen or had just seen. I could see why it would be kind of out of character for him to not go kill Carly instead. But I could just as easily see why he chose to save the people. You know what I mean? Especially
Yeah.
if, like, he wants, maybe in his head too, he knows if he does it, he'll be able to be Captain America still. You know, maybe it was for selfish reasons, you know, and they just don't elaborate on it. Like, you know, because I could see that happening too. Like, well, if I save these people, I mean, they are part of, like, some of the committee and senators are in this thing, so maybe he'll still be Cap. Like, who knows? Like, I'm
Right.
sure, like, in that split second, a lot of things were running through his mind. So I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
The one of the things I did like and at least appreciate though throughout the series in general here in the finale was like Sam gets the shield and he gets the suit and all this stuff and like yay, like he's Captain America now. But what I really liked is that when he went in here and fought Batroc, he didn't just beat his ass because he's Captain America now. Like,
Yeah.
Batroc still beat him. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, we could say it was a draw, but Falcon had to run. Like, he couldn't beat him. He had to leave to save the helicopter thing. Like, he couldn't just, because that's a classic thing they would do in a lot of like stories. It's like, well, now that I've got my super suit or whatever, now
Yeah.
I can just lay waste to you. Like, nah, Batroc still was better than him at fighting. So like, I liked that. Like, he was still had limitations, not just because now he's called Captain America, he wins the fight. So I
Right.
appreciated that. Then we see the only other like kind of notable thing throughout here, because all this stuff is kind of standard, but the first idea you get that uh Sharon is the power broker, in my opinion, is when she freaking like mercury gases that dude.
Oh yeah.
Like, because I mean, it's kind of like we all had the rumors and speculation that like, yeah, she's probably a power broker. Seems like it. There was also some contradictory information as to why she would be, because the power broker was like sending goons after her and Falcon to kill them. So like, why would she be the power broker if
It's a
she's
little
sending people?
contradictory.
Yeah, it's like, well, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But as soon as she like burns the dude alive, I was like, yeah, she probably is the power broker. Like,
Yeah.
she doesn't
Oh, yeah.
seem like, she definitely seems like she broke bad here, like for sure. So I'm curious to see what they're gonna do with that. The other thing I do have to note that I really, really appreciated is that his wish.com shield got broken immediately.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like it was all dented up and just he wasted all that time and ruined his Medal of Honors for no goddamn reason.
Right.
So I thought that was pretty funny. I don't know if it was funny, but I liked it at least. Yeah, but then the saving people, that all made sense. Power broker scene. We missing anything? Because like overall, like I liked everything. Like they did do some cool stuff with the
The
suit.
visuals were cool.
The
Like that
visuals
scene
were
there.
cool, and I liked when Sam had to save. This is another example of how he wasn't just like he could do anything now that he's Captain America. When John Walker went to save the bus or the van, a truck of people, but then it still started falling, Sam swooped in to like try to get it, but like he couldn't by himself. Like he couldn't just lift it up and throw it like freaking like Bucky or John Walker could have actually like held the thing. Like he had to have his freaking thruster on like full blast, and then these little smaller additional engines had to come out, attach itself to the truck, and then it could finally move.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like a little bit more practical and realistic. But I love the scene right here though, when he comes down and he's just like laying the smack down on these senators, dude.
Oh yeah. He just spits it.
Yeah, it's just like what like it made a whole lot of sense. It's like you have to stop calling them terrorists, and like you have to actually realize, you know, why did so many people follow her cause? Like what you guys are doing is wrong. Like whether or not it's like it neither thing. It's not just black and white in this situation. Like
Right.
because I get where the senator's coming from. Like yeah, all these people came back, and now they, you know, is it not right for them to just not be able to live in their house? Well, no, but it's also not right for you just to kick all these people who have lived there for 5 years on the road either.
Right.
Like, you know, it's just like you got to deal with the problems, not just create new ones. And it all just like it was nice to see. He was being the mediator Sam that we know him to be. You know what I mean? That's why, if anything, throughout the show, you really got to see like kind of how cool of a character they made Falcon out to be.
Yeah. I would
because
say so.
yeah, like in like the Captain America movies, he was just kind of like almost like a quippy sidekick, like in a lot of ways. But like we knew he had a little bit of depth to him because of how you actually initially get introduced to him, like doing the VA meetings or whatever he was doing. But
Mhm.
that really got flushed out here, and I like appreciated that. And again, it just gave a lot of narrative purpose to like more reasoning behind why Sam like both is worthy for like the mantle of Captain America, and then like also the narrative purpose behind just uh like the imagery or the kind of influence. I don't know what the word that I'm trying to think of is, just the kind of overall meaning for the world of him, like a black man being Captain America right now. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like going against what Isaiah, because even Isaiah Thomas, or is it Jackson? I think it's Isaiah Thomas. But even him at the end, when he saw Sam give him the speech on camera, even Isaiah Thompson was proud that he was there wearing that suit as Captain America, when he was the one who was like, no self-respecting black man would ever want to be Captain America.
Isaiah
Isaiah
Bradley?
Isaiah Bradley, that's him.
I was like, I don't think it's Thomas.
I was like, I don't know where I got Thomas from. I wonder if there's like there is an Isaiah Thomas. Is he like a basketball player or
He's a
something?
basketball player,
Exactly.
yes.
See, I'm not crazy, dude. I knew it.
Pistons, Detroit Pistons,
There
yeah.
we go. Yeah.
And,
See?
and well, now there was a more recent one that was played for the Celtics. So
Yeah. I knew the name from somewhere. I knew that's why it sounded right in my head. I was like, yeah, it's Thompson.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the one thing they did, I think best overall here, was gave great narrative purpose to like all these big points. Things didn't just happen for the sake of happening.
Right.
Like, and then honestly, you saw why it couldn't do, like, you saw why Captain America couldn't just be whoever has the shield through John Walker. Like, it has
yeah.
to mean something. And so I like the juxtaposition of that. Like, you got to see, like, it doesn't work if you do that, and then how it does work if you have a reason to do it and you're standing for something. You're a symbol, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
I will say, though, they should have used more red in this suit.
They should have.
There's just way too much white and shit going on. I get that this is damn near exactly how it looked in the comics. I get it. But I just think I still like his original suit from the beginning of the show better.
It was a
You know
good
what I mean?
suit.
Cap suit. That I will agree. The white is a little much. Like
It's
there's
yeah,
a
it's just
lot of
it's
it on the
loud.
suit.
Yeah.
It gets almost distracting how much it's on there. But I will say this: I don't think Steve Rogers' Cap had the same suit in any two movies throughout the
Yeah,
series.
it's true.
So my hope is that they retool it a little bit. They've given us the comic accurate version, and now maybe they retool it a little bit for whatever his next appearance is.
Mhm.
Just real quick about this scene, there's a couple things as I was watching this scene. There's a couple things that kind of hit me about it. One of the things was I feel like as much as him putting on the suit and falling through the window and like coming up and fighting Batroc, like that's him being Captain America. I feel like this scene is where Sam, for me, becomes Captain America, because
Yeah.
Captain America stands for this idea of being the best that you can be, doing the things that are hard work, not taking the easy road out. I think that was, Steve Rogers, I can do this all day. That was, reiterated multiple times throughout his tenure as Cap. And then going back to Ursing's final conversation with Steve the night before he gives him the serum, he says, promise me you'll stay what you are, a good person. And I think that this scene with Sam saying, look, you guys aren't doing the hard work. You're not doing what needs to be done. You're not, we need to not take the easy road, even if it's difficult. We need to do the right thing. I think that was Sam showing that he is, as if we didn't know it already, but it's him reaffirming to us and everybody else in the world that's watching him in the MCU that he's a good person, that he's not somebody who's going to take the easy road out, that he is completely worthy of the mantle of Captain America. And so I found that scene to be particularly poignant, and also kind of it goes along with, it was reiterated when you got back to, Captain America Winter Soldier, there's Sharon Carter's when Sharon Carter, right, is telling the story about her her aunt and how she said, move when you can, but when you I'm going to butcher the quote. It was something about, be flexible, work with people when you can, but when you find a position that you feel is right and is right in your heart, and everybody else is telling you you're wrong, plant yourself like a tree and don't be moved. And that's what Sam's doing here. He could easily say, "Hey, look, I want to be the new Cap. I want to be somebody that young black kids can look up to. I want to show the world that all these people who don't think that I'm deserving, that they're wrong. And I'm going to do whatever it takes to be that. I'm going to agree with these people on this thing because they feel that these people, the people that came back, should get their stuff back. I'm going to go ahead and just fold my ideals and my beliefs and go along with what they're saying." He doesn't do that. He goes completely against that in a very public way, even at the risk of alienating people that he may need assistance from in this new role that he's chosen to take on. And so just his strength of character in that moment and the way he goes about talking with people and saying, "Look, we have to do the work," I think is him ultimately becoming the Captain America that the MCU, the MCU needs. And so I found that scene very, very powerful and very moving and an excellent transition into him being the new Cap.
I totally
Yeah.
agree. Like that,
Yeah.
if no one thought that he was quote unquote worthy of it, like that scene was like the perfect.
Yeah, that made him
Like
worthy
that's
of it.
it. Like that's the scene you play, and you're like, well, here's why. And it's like,
Yeah.
well, there, like that's his audition tape. It's
Right.
like, well, there you got the role. Like, good job. One of the last things that I really liked, at least that I can think of off the top of my head, was I love this last bit because they showed the like the other flag smasher dudes, they get like arrested and then they get moved, and then the dude's like, "One people" or whatever.
Yeah.
But then you see Zemo's Alfred there. And I was
Yep.
just like, "Oh yeah." And then you have that scene of just Zemo like watching it and just like going to like resting easy. His work is done.
Right.
It was really
Grins,
good.
yeah.
It was good, man. Like I was like, "That's great." So I'm glad that happened. I mean, it's a shame that of all the bad guys, those ones were like at least the dude with the hair. He wasn't really cool with anything Carly was doing. So I mean, maybe like what I mean. He was of the Flag Smashers, the dude with the hair.
Yeah.
Like he was like
Oh, they
kind of
even
like always like, should we be doing
questioning
this?
her, sure.
Yeah,
Well, there was even the scene early in the episode where all three of her minions, for lack of a better way to
yeah,
put it, like she says, like one people, or what I forget their phrase, one world, and then they're supposed to respond one people, and they
yeah,
don't right away because they all at that point are kind of like, I don't know, are we taking it too far? Is this is this what we really signed up for?
yeah.
So yeah, I can see definitely what you're saying. Like he was always questioning her, but even the other two at some point were like, "Has she gone off the rails here?"
Yeah, like is
Yeah.
it now she's like just turning this into like, well, we're just gonna kill everybody.
Right.
Like,
Basically.
is that we?
Vendetta, not
Yeah,
yeah, not what she's yeah.
it's like we just wanted to send a message and like get our houses back. We didn't really want to kill anybody. Like, but yeah, so it is kind of a shame that in some ways you could look at it that they they got killed because like they were probably gonna be good,
Right.
maybe. But I mean, I like that Zemo at least got some sort of like I said, his job is done. He laid down in bed, he could rest easy at least for tonight until there's another thing he's after. Until the Thunderbolts.
True.
Like
Yeah.
at this point. Like that's now with US Agent getting his official US Agent garb, I am leaning towards they might be doing a Thunderbolt series. Like that might be the season 2 of this show.
Right.
Season 2.
Season
Just
2.
the continuation.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because I could very well see that. They set both Zemo and US Agent up in here. And then you also had the what was it? I mean, we said before we're one Hulkling away from Young Avengers. So
Young
'cause,
Avengers.
yeah, Isaiah Bradley's grandson's in here, so Hawkeye's coming. So they could do like Thunderbolts versus Young Avengers. They
Mhm.
could be setting that up before our eyes. That actually be
Yeah.
good. That because like the Thunderbolts are never like I mean, some iterations are. If you have like Agent Venom and Deadpool and Punisher on the Thunderbolt and Red Hulk, like, yeah, that's an Avengers level threat. But if it's just US Agent and Zemo, and that'd be a good like young Avengers team to go up against, because then it's like they're not pushovers, but they're also not Avengers level threats. So like that could actually work depending
Yeah.
on who fills out the roster. That'd be kind
Yeah.
of cool. I kind of actually want to see that now. That could be interesting. But then, yeah, we got the scene where I do agree it could have been a little bit longer, but I also liked it. I didn't think we needed too much cry time, so
No.
like it was probably fine with it not happening. This was very nice too. The end tag with
Oh, great.
I like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
that was good, because I mean that's probably why they cut it short, because it was too much cry time at that point. Like this is just one thing after another.
Right.
So yeah, it was good. I mean
It was
that's pretty
good.
much it. Yeah, that wraps it up. You guys got anything else you want to add? That was pretty much it.
I think you
Yeah, I
covered-
mean the after credit scene was just
Oh
Sharon
yeah, with
Carter
Sharon
revealing
getting
herself.
yeah, exactly.
Confirming that she is in fact the power worker. I mean, they heavily implied it, but that was the confirmation scene, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where she says where you have access to
Who do you think she's talking to? Because I'm wondering if she was just
Just-
maybe she's in too deep and she's not the power broker. It's like she's saying she was. Well, actually, no.
Yeah.
She didn't even say she was.
I
Batroc
thought she
assumed she
did.
was. Batroc said, "So you're the power broker."
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, didn't because
Yeah,
then
I don't
Carly
know.
said like you're the power broker, but I think realistically she never admitted to being the power broker. Technically.
Okay.
I'm it was heavily implied, no matter what, that she was. But she is talking to somebody. So maybe
And
if
she's talking about selling US munitions and weaponry to
yeah.
bidders, not necessarily good people.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
Yeah.
bidders in general. So
Yeah.
I kind of took that just as the confirmation, but yeah, I guess she never like said, "Ha ha ha! I am the power broker."
Yeah.
So,
But I mean, she probably is, but I still could see them doing something where she's like in too deep with somebody who actually is the power broker, maybe. But like maybe she has gone full heel though, because she definitely has character motivations to be a bad guy at this point. At least I think
Sure.
they gave them to her. Like her country abandoned her and like spent 5 years pretty much for doing the right thing and helping
Yeah.
Captain America. Her country betrayed her. Like
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean, so it's like that's definitely enough for you to not be so nice anymore. So
Yeah.
I really could see it going either way. I wonder if that's going to play into this Captain America 4 movie at all. I don't know when else she would pop up, or if it would just She-Hulk is a lawyer, so I could see maybe it pops in there.
Yeah.
Now, maybe it could have something to do with that too. Who knows? You guys got anything else you want to add though?
I think we
No,
covered
that
it.
about covers it for me.
All right. Well, Rick, where can everybody find you online? Let's wrap up.
Follow me, Sir Rick Metz, on Instagram. I'm like my stupid pictures and all that sort of stuff.
I feel that. John, where can everybody find you online, sir?
I'm over at Twitter and Instagram, Nightwing_K.
All right. You can follow me simply here at Sir Rob Bifo. And again, don't forget, you can submit topics and questions to us, for us to address, rather, onto the show here, just by emailing us at honestanduneducated@gmail.com. That's honestanduneducated@gmail.com. Every Wednesday, our collectible reviews go up on the channel. Most recently was the Obi-Wan Kenobi Revenge of the Sith hot toy. That is up there now. Go check that out, along with all the other ones in that playlist. Those are fun to do. And then as you see, this show comes out every Monday. Collectibles are every Wednesday, and then streams every Friday around like 8:30, 9-ish p.m. So come hang out with us there. We do figure unboxings, spoiler discussions, play some video games, stuff like that. So, but that'll do it. And then the podcast too. Go subscribe to the podcast, like the video, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends, do all that sorts of good stuff that YouTube likes and all that. But that pretty much covers it for today. So until next time, guys, take care.